The metal door of the kitchen slammed open, and Aisha flinched so hard she almost dropped the heavy tray of half-eaten appetizers. A wave of garlicky, expensive perfume hit her as a woman in a red dress laughed, oblivious, just meters away in the dining hall of the Clove. This was it, the first 5 seconds of her night, and already her heart was racing. The restaurant was a glittering jewel in the heart of Lagos, a place where a single plate of food cost more than Aisha earned in a month. She, on the other hand, was invisible, a ghost in a cleaner's uniform, navigating the slick, treacherous floor. Her eyes darted, not to the guests, but to the stainless steel waste bin. It was almost full. A mountain of rice, half a grilled fish, untouched prawns. Her stomach physically ached. But it wasn't her own hunger that drove her. It was the thought of her 2 small children, Leo and Zara, waiting in their damp, single-room home. Zara's cough had been getting worse. "Aisha!" a voice barked. It was Chef Bako, a large man whose white uniform was stained with sweat and tomato sauce. "Are you paid to stare, or are you paid to clean?" "Move!" Aisha's head snapped down. "Yes, chef. Sorry, chef." She hurried away from the bin, her heart pounding. She had a plan, a desperate, humiliating plan she enacted every single night. But the plan depended on Chef Bako's mood, and tonight he looked angry. The restaurant was packed, and the air in the kitchen was thick with pressure and sizzling oil. She just had to survive the next 3 hours. 3 hours until she could beg. She had no idea that tonight her begging would set off a chain of events that would unravel her entire, carefully hidden life. And she had no idea that her boss, the owner, was watching. His name was Mr. Davies, and he was not a happy man. He sat in his glass-walled office overlooking the restaurant floor, his suit jacket off, his tie loosened. He was on the phone, his voice low and sharp. "I don't care about the port delays. I care about the contract. Make it happen." He slammed the phone down, rubbing his temples. He was surrounded by luxury, but all he felt was the crushing weight of logistics, of payroll, of profit and loss. He glanced idly at the kitchen, at the controlled chaos. He saw Chef Bako yelling at a cleaner. He saw the cleaner, a thin, almost frail woman, scurry away. He didn't even know her name. She was just a line item on his budget, part of the cleaning contract. His eyes went back to his spreadsheet. He had bigger problems, or so he thought. The night dragged on. Aisha scrubbed, mopped, and emptied bins, her body moving on autopilot. Her mind was on Leo and Zara. She had left them that morning with the last of the gari, a small handful each, and 2 cubes of sugar. "Be good," she had whispered, kissing their foreheads. "Mama will bring food tonight. I promise." Leo, at 6 years old, had nodded, his eyes old with a responsibility he shouldn't have. Zara, just 4, had coughed, a dry, racking sound that terrified Aisha. The pharmacist said she needed a proper antibiotic, but that cost money Aisha didn't have. Money for the pharmacist, money for the landlord, money for the bus. It was a suffocating, endless cycle. Her only hope was the waste bin at the Clove. Finally, the last guest left. The lights in the dining room dimmed. The kitchen staff was cleaning up, packing their own bags, laughing and shouting. Aisha waited. This was the worst part. She had to wait until everyone was almost gone, especially Chef Bako. She tried to make herself small, wiping down a counter that was already clean. She could feel her palms sweating. Her dignity was a luxury she had traded for survival long ago. She saw Bako grab his keys. It was now or never. She took a deep breath, her heart hammering against her ribs, and walked toward him. "Chef, please," she whispered, her eyes fixed on the floor. Bako turned, his face a mask of annoyance. "What is it? I want to go home." "Please, chef. The food. The waste." She held up a small, empty plastic container she kept hidden in her bag. Just anything. Whatever you're throwing away. Please. He looked at her, then at the container, and a cruel smirk played on his lips. You, again. Every night. Like a beggar. Why should I? What do you do with it? Sell it at the bus stop? Aisha recoiled, a flush of shame heating her face. No, Chef, I swear. It is for my children. They are small. They are hungry. Your children? He scoffed. That's what they all say. My children. My sick mother. Why don't you buy your own food? You get paid, don't you? Tears pricked her eyes, hot and angry. Sir, my pay. It is not enough. The transport, the rent. Not my problem, he snapped. He started to walk away. Please, Aisha's voice cracked. It was a sound of pure desperation. She didn't care about him, or her pride, or anything else. She just saw Zara's face. Please, sir. They have not eaten. Bako stopped. He sighed, a dramatic, put-upon sound. He looked around. The kitchen was empty. He walked to the main bin, the one with the guests' leftovers. He grabbed a handful of discarded chicken, some jollof rice, and a few prawns, and dumped them unceremoniously into her container. It was a mess, a pile of scraps, but to Aisha, it was treasure. Now get out, he growled, and don't let me see you again tonight. Thank you, Chef. God bless you, sir, she whispered, clutching the container to her chest as if it were gold. She fled, running through the back door and into the dark, damp night. She didn't see Mr. Davies. He was still in his office, his new problem a supplier who had just declared bankruptcy. He stood, stretching, and walked to the window just in time to see the entire exchange. He didn't hear the words, but he saw the body language. He saw Chef Bako's sneering face and the cleaner's terrified, pleading posture. He saw the food being scraped into a container. His first, immediate thought was theft. He watched her run out into the street, clutching her bag. He frowned. It was an anomaly, and Mr. Davies hated anomalies. This went on for 3 more days. Mr. Davies became obsessed. It was a puzzle. Every night, the same ritual. The pleading. Bako's performance of power. The handful of scraps. The desperate flight. Who was this woman? On Friday night, it was raining. A heavy tropical storm that turned the streets of Lagos into rivers. Mr. Davies's driver, Say, was waiting for him with the car. Mr. Davies was walking out when he saw her. Aisha. She was huddled under the small, broken overhang of the building next door, trying to shield her plastic container. The bus stop was flooded. She was soaked. Sir, Say said, holding the door. Mr. Davies stopped. He looked at Aisha, then at his car. A crazy, impulsive, and completely unprofessional idea formed in his mind. He was going to see where the ghost lived. The boss is going to follow her. He's crossing a line from boss to detective, and he has no idea what he's about to uncover. This is the moment the entire story changes. If you love a story that is full of mystery and suspense, and you're already hooked, show your support right now. Please like this video, share it with a friend who loves a good story, and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single second of what happens next. The journey was a descent. Aisha finally managed to get on a Danfo bus, a yellow, rickety vessel crammed with twice the number of people it was meant to hold. Mr. Davies got into his own car, which Say had brought around, and told him to follow it. Don't get too close, he ordered. They drove for an hour, crossing the 3rd mainland bridge, leaving the glittering lights of the island for the sprawling, chaotic darkness of the mainland. The bus chugged into a neighborhood Mr. Davies had only ever seen on maps, a place he told his drivers to avoid. The streets were unpaved, rivers of mud and refuse. The bus stopped, and Aisha got out. Mr. Davies's car couldn't go any further. Wait here, he told Say, Lock the doors. Sir, this is not a good idea. This place is not safe. Sai's eyes were wide. Wait. Mr. Davies got out of the car. The rain hit him instantly, cold and hard. The smell of charcoal, sewage, and wet earth filled his lungs. He felt a moment of intense panic. His shoes, handmade Italian leather, were ruined in seconds. He was insane. But he saw her, a small, determined figure, walking quickly down a narrow alley. He followed. He felt like a spy, a trespasser. He was in a world he didn't know, a world that existed in the shadows of his own. People stared at him. This rich man in a suit, walking through their territory. He kept his head down, focused on Aisha's disappearing back. She turned into a compound, a half-finished building that looked more like a ruin. It had no gate, just a gaping hole where one should be. He hesitated. This was the end of the line. Going, in there was a boundary he couldn't uncross. But he had come this far. He had to know the end of the story. He slipped into the compound behind her. It was dark, lit only by a few dim security bulbs. He saw her climb a set of crumbling concrete stairs. He followed, his heart pounding. He heard a child's voice. "Mama, is that you?" "Yes, my loves. It's Mama." Aisha's voice, no longer a whisper, but warm and full of love. He found a spot on the landing, hidden in the shadows, where he could see through the gap where her wooden door didn't quite meet the frame. He peered inside. The room was tiny, perhaps 10 by 10. A single bare mattress was on the floor. A kerosene lamp flickered, casting long, dancing shadows. And on the mattress, 2 small children, a boy and a girl, sat waiting. The girl, Zara, was coughing. Aisha entered the room, and she was transformed. The weary, invisible cleaner disappeared. A mother took her place. "I'm so sorry I'm late," she said, her voice bright, belying the storm and the journey. "The rain was so bad. But look what Mama brought." She placed the plastic container on a small stool. The children's eyes went wide. "Rice!" Leo shouted. "And chicken!" "Yes, my love. A feast tonight," Aisha said, laughing. She found 2 plastic plates, rinsed them in a bucket of water, and began to divide the food. Mr. Davies watched, his stomach clenching. He saw her meticulously pick out every piece of chicken, every prawn, and divide it between the 2 plates. The rice, mashed and cold, she split evenly. She gave everything to them. She kept nothing for herself. "Mama, your own?" Leo asked, his mouth already full. Aisha smiled, a beautiful, heartbreaking smile. "I ate at work, my love. A big, big plate. I am so full." She stroked his hair. Zara, her daughter, just ate, her small hands grabbing the rice. Aisha watched them, her face a mask of such profound love and relief that Mr. Davies felt as if he had been punched. She watched them until every grain was gone. Then, she took a small sachet of water, drank it, and that was her dinner. Mr. Davies backed away from the door. He stumbled down the stairs, his legs weak. He leaned against the wet, crumbling wall, and the reality of what he had just seen hit him. She wasn't a thief. She wasn't just a poor cleaner. She was a mother, sacrificing her own body, her own pride, her own hunger, to feed her children. The lie, "I ate at work," echoed in his head. He, who had been annoyed about a supplier, who owned a restaurant that threw this food away, felt a wave of shame so profound it made him dizzy. And then, the shame was replaced by something else. A memory, sharp and clear, from 40 years ago. He was a small boy, not much older than Leo. He was in a room just like this. His own mother, a cleaner, was putting food on his plate. "Eat, my son," she would say. "I ate at the big house." He remembered now, realizing she had been lying too. He was Mr. Davies, the owner of the Clove, but he was also the son of a woman just like Aisha. He put his head in his hands, and in the rain, in the dark, in the middle of a slum, the rich boss cried. He didn't just cry for Aisha, he cried for his mother. This is the moment, the one the title promised. He didn't just see poverty, he saw his own past. He saw his own mother in Aisha's selfless, heartbreaking lie. This is the raw, human connection that stories are all about. If this moment touched your heart, and you believe in the power of empathy, please we ask you to join our community. Like this video to show your support. Share it with someone who needs to see a story about real kindness. And subscribe to this channel. We are dedicated to telling stories that matter. He was a man of action. Pity was useless. Charity was an insult. What Aisha needed was not a handout. She needed justice. He got back to his car, soaked and silent, his mind racing. Say, seeing his face, said nothing. Home, Mr. Davies said, but he wasn't going to sleep. The first thing he did when he got to his study was open his laptop. He pulled up the cleaning company's files. He found her name, Aisha Bello. He opened a private browser. He was a wealthy man. He had connections. He made a call to a private investigator. I need everything you can find on a woman named Aisha Bello. I need it by morning. By 8 a.m., the report was in his inbox. And it was not what he expected. The twist made his blood run cold. Aisha Bello was not just a cleaner. She had a first-class degree in accounting from the University of Lagos. She was a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants. He read on, his shock turning to rage. She had been married to a man, a wealthy, influential man. The report detailed a history of domestic abuse. When she finally fled with her children, her husband had used his power to destroy her. He had her blacklisted. He had her lost documents seized. He had spread rumors that she was mentally unstable. He had made her a brilliant, qualified woman, unemployable. She had become a cleaner, an invisible ghost to hide, to survive. Mr. Davies now understood. Her quietness wasn't just humility, it was fear. Her begging wasn't just poverty. Was the result of a terrible injustice. His first call was not to Aisha. It was to Chef Bako. He had him come in early. Bako swaggered into the office, confused. Sir, you wanted to see me? Yes, Bako. Sit, Mr. Davies said, his voice quiet. Tell me about the cleaner, Aisha. You've been giving her food. Bako's face paled. He thought he was in trouble. Sir, it was just scraps. Waste. I was throwing it away anyway. It was nothing. It was nothing? Mr. Davies's voice was dangerously low. You thought it was nothing to humiliate a woman every night, to hold power over her, to make her beg for food you were throwing in the bin? You enjoyed that, didn't you? Watching her plead. Sir, I don't know what you mean. You're fired, Mr. Davies said. Fired! Sir, for what? For giving away trash? No, Mr. Davies said, standing up. For a lack of basic human decency. For failing to see the person in front of you. Get your things. Security will escort you out. Bako was stunned, but he saw the look in his boss's eyes. It was not negotiable. The second call was to his secretary. Please find Aisha from the cleaning crew and send her to my office, and tell maintenance to turn up the air conditioning. It's cold. Aisha was mopping the front entrance when the secretary found her. Mr. Davies wants to see you, the woman said, looking down her nose. Aisha's blood turned to ice. He wants to see me? This was it. Bako had finally reported her. She was going to be fired. She was going to lose the one, tiny lifeline she had. Her hands trembled so much she could barely hold the mop. Now? Yes, now. She walked to his office, her legs feeling like lead. Every step was a step closer to doom. What would she tell Leo and Zara? She knocked, her hand shaking. Come in. She entered. The office was huge, cold, and smelled of leather and coffee. Mr. Davies was sitting behind a massive desk. He didn't look angry. He just looked intense. You wanted to see me, sir?" she whispered, twisting her apron in her hands. "Yes, Aisha. Please, sit down." She perched on the very edge of the chair. She was sure she was leaving a dirty mark on the expensive leather. "Sir, if this is about the food, I can explain. Chef Baco gave it to me. I never stole, I promise. My children. Zara is sick. Please, sir, don't fire me. I will do anything. I will clean the gutters. Please." She was rambling, tears welling up in her eyes. Mr. Davies held up a hand. "Aisha, you are not being fired." She stopped. "I'm not?" "No." He paused, looking at her, really looking at her. Not as a cleaner, but as the woman he saw in that tiny, dark room. "Aisha, I know you have a degree in accounting." Aisha's heart stopped. The blood drained from her face. This was worse than being fired. He knew. Her secret, the one she had guarded, the one her ex-husband could use to find her, was out. I don't know what you're talking about." "Aisha Bello, University of Lagos. Graduated 2015, first-class honors. You worked at Apex Consulting for 2 years before you left." He pushed a single sheet of paper across the desk. It was her transcript. She stared at it. The room was spinning. This was the end. Her ex-husband had found her. "Who told you?" she whispered, her voice full of terror. "That's not important," Mr. Davies said gently. "What's important is that I know your story. I know what he did to you, and I know you are not a cleaner." Aisha finally looked up, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and confusion. "My mother," Mr. Davies said, his voice thick with emotion, "was a cleaner. She raised me in a room not very different from yours. She worked her fingers to the bone, and she lied to me, too. She told me she ate at work, so that I could have her share." Aisha's breath hitched. She saw a flicker of tears in this powerful man's eyes. He wasn't her enemy. "A woman with your mind, your qualifications, and your strength," he continued, "should not be cleaning floors. She should be running accounts. My accounts. Sir, I have 2 offers for you, Aisha. The first is a job. I have an opening in our auditing department. The work is yours. The pay is what a first-class accountant deserves." Aisha was speechless. She couldn't process the words. "The second offer," he said, leaning forward, "is more personal. My personal assistant just retired. It's a job that requires discretion, intelligence, and more than anything, trust. It requires someone who understands the value of things, someone who knows what a fight looks like. The salary is significant. It comes with a company car, a driver, and a new, fully furnished 3-bedroom apartment in the company's secure estate. It also comes with free, total coverage health insurance for you, and for Leo and Zara. And they will be enrolled in the finest school in Lagos. My old school." Aisha was openly crying now, but they were not tears of fear. They were tears of shock, of a dam of pain breaking. "Why? Why would you do this for me?" Mr. Davies smiled, a real, warm smile. "I'm not doing this for you, Aisha. I am hiring you. I am making a sound business investment. I am investing in the smartest, toughest person I have ever met. My mother would have been proud of me for this. So, what do you say?" Aisha looked at the man who had followed her, who had seen her at her lowest, and who had not offered her pity, but an opportunity. He hadn't just given her food. He had given her back her life. She stood up, wiping her tears, and for the first time, she stood tall. "When do I start?" she said. "Yes. This is the moment we were all waiting for. From begging for scraps to an executive assistant, a new home, and a future for her children. This is the kind of hope and transformation we love to see. If you are feeling happy, relieved, and inspired by this ending, let's celebrate it together. Please like this video, share this powerful message of hope, and subscribe to this channel for more uplifting stories that show the best of humanity. The next Monday, a new woman walked into the Clove. It was Aisha, but not the ghost. She wore a sharp, custom-tailored suit. Her hair was beautifully styled. She walked past the kitchen, where a new, terrified head chef was in charge, and didn't even glance at the bin. She walked past the secretary, who was now her assistant, and into her new office, right next to Mr. Davies. That evening, she didn't take the bus. A driver, in a car just like her boss's, took her home. Home was not a crumbling building. It was a beautiful, clean apartment. She walked in and was greeted by the smell of Fo Riro. She had hired a nanny. Leo and Zara ran to her, not in rags, but in their new school uniforms. "Mama! Mama! I got a star in maths!" Leo shouted. Zara's cough was gone. Aisha hugged them, her heart so full it felt like it might burst. Later that night, she sat with her two children at a real dining table, and for the first time in years, the three of them ate. And this time, Mama ate too. Aisha's story is a powerful reminder that behind every quiet face, there is a story. And Mr. Davies' story is a reminder that kindness is not just about giving. It's about seeing. It's about seeing the humanity in others and offering not just a handout, but a hand up.